Well, hey there, idiots. Welcome back to Observe. In today's video, we're going to be analyzing the nonverbal communication again of Colleen Ballinger. More on that in just a second. Let's go ahead and roll the intro first. Okay, so as you might have noticed, I am not wielding a musical instrument for this video, and as might be shocking to many people, nor is Colleen. Colleen Ballinger, for those of you who do not know, has faced some controversy on the internet here recently and has gone through a fair bit of cancellation centered around that. If you would like to be able to know the full story, I suggest going and checking out the other videos before watching this one. In today's video, Colleen's already back, and she's just recording vlogs as per the usual, and there's a little bit around this that addresses the whole situation, and I'm going to be analyzing that footage to see if we can see non-verbally during that, the emotional displays, so on and so forth. That's all the backstory that I'm going to give on this one. Let's just go ahead and dive right into this footage.
Hello everybody. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I've really missed this. I've missed talking to everyone every single day. Obviously, the last video that I posted on here, it's really embarrassing, to say the least.
Okay, gonna go ahead and pause here. So, first and foremost, what many of us have been able to pick up on, especially here on the channel, is throughout time as people of influence come before the general population to convey some form of message, oftentimes an apology. They will wear very light clothing, all white clothing. This has been said to psychologically inspire feelings of purity from them. So there's the possibility that that's coming in here as she's wearing mostly white. The background is mostly white, but this isn't an apology video. Maybe it's still trying to persuade people to feel like she's pure. Possibly. I'm making note of it. Honestly, it seems as though this might just be what she wore, and that just happened to be the setting of the actual video. Maybe there's a little bit of manipulation, but not anything that I could say for certain on that. So just keeping an eye on it. Now, non-verbally speaking, what we're able to hear tonally is a very soft, breathy kind of voice. And that soft and breathy voice is fascinating to me because it's not her consistent speaking tone, which, if that's the case, I have to ask the question, why is this weird, breathy, soft tone coming in? And it has to do with the verbal message that she's conveying. She's trying to show that she's like changed and different and emotionally affected by what she's saying. And that's where that softer voice will come in. So this is something that many people do regularly to begin with. It can be something that can be done intentionally to manipulate. It's something that we want to be able to make note of. Let's just keep watching now.
To say the least, I was being accused of some pretty awful things, and I just was mad, and I should have handled that situation with maturity and empathy, but instead I just let my ego take over, and I'm really disappointed in myself.
All right, so during this, what I'm noticing consistently, one, I'm very happy to see that there aren't just 2 trillion cuts within this video. What I'm also noticing non-verbally along with that is we're seeing a good amount of lip compressions in there, some tight-lipped smiles, and some displays of contempt as well. So those displays that are coming across the bottom half of her face there have a number of emotional meanings behind it. So the tight-lipped smiles and the lip compressions, those are usually related to negative emotions biting back, something that either shouldn't be said or something that is negative in being said, something that doesn't feel comfortable being spoken or presented. You'll see those lip compressions and tight-lipped smiles come in. The contempt comes in regards to their psychological state of feeling morally or intellectually superior. And this could be in regards to people around. This could be in regards to themselves. But we're seeing that contempt come in here as well. And we're seeing multiple times of them breaking eye contact and looking down to the side. This is to convey shame, perhaps guilt. So what I find fascinating throughout this is that this all seems to be very intentionally done. It doesn't seem as though this might be an authentic welling up of emotion. It kind of seems as though it might be something that's tried to push into the beginning of this video to convey, hey, I'm emotionally upset and perturbed by what has happened, and you should then see that I'm taking it seriously and go along with it. So it can be seen as a low level of manipulation. She's also sitting fairly small in the frame, not very confident, sitting fairly small, sitting on the ground. It's a fascinating approach. So there are a number of things that I'm seeing here that have been done in the past on repeat by many different people that are levels of manipulation to get an audience to change their mind and their opinion about a person without actually following up with the actions, things like that. That is something that I'm picking up on and I want to make note of. Non-verbally speaking, we're not seeing any confidence. We're just seeing that uncertainty, that contempt, and the reluctance to state anything that's negative or the emotions behind it. Let's just keep watching.
So here's what I want to say today.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and pause there because you can see what's considered a reposturing. Anytime that you see a reposturing, it almost guarantees that there is a shift in the tone of the conversation being had. Either they're going to switch to a new role, they're going to switch to a new thought, something is shifting, and so you'll see a person reposture. So if she does a full reposturing, you could see her probably sit down into what I'm assuming is a cross-legged position. So psychologically, she's shifting into a different vein of thought here. Let's see how that goes.
Over the last 15 years of my career, there have been moments where I was immature and inappropriate with some of my comedy. And there were times when I did not put enough thought into some of my fan interactions. And because of that behavior, people got hurt.
Gonna go ahead and pause here. There were moments that I was immature. Where she's saying there were moments that I was immature, she does a little no shake in there. It's big enough that it could be controlled consciously, so a macro shake no like that has a number of possible meanings. You wouldn't believe, or it could be a desynchronization spot of I'm saying a positive thing, but I'm showing a negative thing, so that desynchronization is a red flag. So in that area, it's difficult to say. Now, what I will note is that right after that, she has the same no shake while saying something negative. So it's synchronized there. So with that contrast in mind, I have a few questions as to whether or not she fully is backing that statement that she did some immature things at the time, or is it because she's saying you would not believe, or it's unbelievable that I did such stupid things? There is both possibilities in this specific scenario here. I think that it would be best for us to continue watching through to be able to gather more before trying to figure out which direction that tell means. Let's keep watching.
And I am so sorry. I never wanted to hurt anybody, but it's clear that I did, and I feel so terrible about that. I also feel like there's probably people who are disappointed or feel abandoned by me because of my silence over the last few months. And I'm so sorry about that as well. I needed to take time to make sure I was listening and learning as much as possible. And I also needed to get the help that I needed to be.
I'm going to go ahead and pause here again. I'm seeing consistently throughout this a fair bit of no shakes. So those no shakes are of various intensities. You could see some pretty micro ones in there. You could see some pretty macro ones in there. So that mixture makes it a little bit difficult to be able to say, oh, these are all meaning this or these are all meaning that, which is one of the problems about nonverbal communication reading at this point, is that we want cold, hard black and whites. And with psychology, it's almost never the case. Psychology is very rarely a black and white scenario. It's usually a gray. So the nonverbal displays of a psychological processing is still going to be that level of gray. And until we can have some breakthroughs in technology and psychology, we're kind of stuck working with this rather than being like, oh, we see a tell and that guarantees that it means this. It's a little frustrating. It makes things a little muddy, a little bit more complicated, but it is something that can be navigated around. And with enough context, you can easily overcome that obstacle. So in this area right now, there's just not enough context to be able to say that she's saying no, you wouldn't believe, or if it's a micro shake no, and desynchronization and all of this that she's saying is purely just her saying things. It's difficult to say at this point. Let's keep watching.
To be okay. I'm a mom first and foremost before anything else, and I needed to take care of my kids. So that's where I've been, and but I'm back and I'm here now, and I am not a.
So there was a cut there. Again, still seeing no shakes, breaking eye contact regularly. A lot of ums coming in here as well. So verbally, we're hearing a breaking of the normal flow of her speaking, which before she didn't have all these ums. So why are they popping up here as she's talking about, I'm above everything else, I'm a mom, and having difficulty holding eye contact? This could be an indicator of the fact that perhaps she still understands that this is just a saving face statement here that she's doing. She's just trying to patch, to band-aid something that she's done in the past and hoping that people will go through. And her nonverbal communication is kind of showing that there might not be a full weight behind that. And also, to be fair, very little time has actually passed from her poor actions as opposed to now. So that's also something else that we want to be able to make note of, is that there just hasn't actually been a lot of time for this growth to have occurred. It's only been a few months. Let's see.
I am not a perfect person, and there are plenty of things in my past that I wish I could go back and redo. And
This gesture here, this one's only done in pleading. Another similar gesture to that would be like the one-handed manipulator down in this area. So the suprasternal notch is fairly vulnerable. There's a lot of physiology that goes through here that's fairly important for your well-being. So you'll see a lot of people start to fidget in this area, be it with a necklace, be it with their clothing, can even just be with the skin itself. You'll see that coming out, and that manipulator is a for sure sign of agitation. So she's not doing this manipulator, she's doing this specific, very intentional one, which is centered around this pleading, which fits in kind of with what the narrative that she's painting in this little blip is. Again, we're seeing regular contempt. We're seeing regular tight-lipped expressions. We're also seeing the compression of the lips as well. So we're seeing those regularly come through her nonverbal communication. Let's just keep watching, and we'll kind of summarize it at the end.
fix and change. I don't have control over any of that, and I don't have control over the things people say about me. I only have control over my actions moving forward. And so I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I create a positive, kind, inclusive, safe space online with my content. And if you want to be a part of my journey online, I would love to have you. And if not, I completely understand.
Okay, so during this time, again, multiple head shakes, no, some eye-blocking gestures, there's some extended blinks in there. Perhaps she's thinking to herself at this time, like, I know that nobody's going to buy into this as I'm saying it, so it's coming out with this desynchronization point. Perhaps she herself understands, like, oh, there's still going to be levels of controversy and difficulty in regards to my content. There's something in there that's causing difficulty, otherwise we wouldn't see this burst of nonverbal activity in there. So that's something that I do find fascinating to make note of here, especially in regards to them kind of promising this new future of things. Let's keep watching.
I do not expect anyone to welcome me back with open arms. I don't expect to change anyone's mind with this video. I just wanted to come on here and say that I'm sorry, and I wanted to try to show people that it's possible for someone to grow and learn and be better after making mistakes.
So during this time, another thing that I'm seeing, and I have seen a few times throughout this little blip, is some lopsided shoulder shrugging. And that lopsided shoulder shrug in there is an indicator of insincerity or uncertainty. So as she's saying some of these things and flashing this insincerity or uncertainty gesture, it makes me question why that is creeping in there, what's causing her to feel like, I don't know, and that's causing that to move. There's a number of psychological possibilities behind that, and we kind of just have to weigh, based off of their actions off of this video, whether or not these points that we're seeing are actually points of desynchronization because they're blowing smoke at everybody, which isn't the first time that they would have done something like this, or is this an area where they're feeling like what they're about to do is so positive or so good that we, the viewer, might find it unbelievable, or they themselves find it unbelievable. So it does raise questions for us. It's something that we have to keep track of. Let's watch a little bit more.
After making mistakes many years ago. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to vlog again, and today I'm just going to film my day and share some simple, happy moments, and start the process of starting over. And I know it's going to be awkward and clunky at first as I try to get back into the swing of things, but I'm going to try. So
again, pausing here, another thing that I'm seeing is that lip compression coming up there with a specific tight-lipped, almost mouth shrug. Now, the mouth shrugs are closely related to the shoulder shrugs. It's an I don't know, or it's an uncertainty, or a insincerity, something along those lines. So we're seeing that come in with the tight-lipped expression as well. So that kind of indicates that perhaps there's some uncertainty and it's related to a negative thing, and seeing that and hearing that flows fairly synchronized with what she's presenting. She's trying to defend a negative position, and she's having uncertainty about it. It does make sense. It's not really pushing me to believe that she's being authentic here, but let's keep watching.
So that's what I'm going to do. And thank you for listening, and thank you to anyone who supported me in any capacity over the last 15 years. I've really, really appreciated it. But yeah, let's get started with the day and see what happens, I guess. I honestly do not know how to transition from this conversation into a vlog, but let's try. Where do I even begin? So much has happened.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause here. So something that we see is she says, that's what I'm gonna do. And she hunches up a little bit. One side of her shoulder comes up a little bit. Again, lopsided shrug, possible insincerity or insecurity in what's being said. Have some questions around that. And then the both shoulders hunching up and the head hunching down. So instead of just like a shrug where it's a, I don't know, this consistent hunching down like this is a defensive gesture. You don't usually see somebody get into this sort of positioning unless they're feeling defensive on some level, either physically or psychologically. So seeing that, she has some defensiveness about what she's going to do. And that's probably because of what has happened before. She's saying that she wants to continue doing regular content, but she's feeling defensive about doing that regular content, considering the context of everything else. So we're seeing that. Now, what I kept in here at the very end is she's going to transfer, and you could hear her switch her tone from this very soft, kind of, like I said, wispy, breathy sort of tone that she's been carrying throughout this little portion here over into what is considered her normal talking tone, which has a lot more force behind it, has a lot more confidence behind it, projected more clearly. Let's just hear that shift, and you can hear kind of how she's been in direct control over what she's presenting.
Where do I even begin? So much has happened since the last time I vlogged. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, the majority of the last few months has just been spent in therapy.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop it there. The video continues on forward. There's not too much else that's related to anything from the past, but you can hear that very definite, very clear, audible shift from breathy emotional tone to this shift of this is where I actually talk. This is my normal cadence. This is my normal volume and pressure. That lets me know that on some level, whether intentional or not, that initial part is not their full genuine speaking, because otherwise that tonality would fit all the way throughout. Now, an argument against that could be that perhaps she was just trying to convey the emotion that she was feeling or should be feeling in regards to that at the beginning. And now she's shifted out of that and it's to something else. And that's a very valid point. So that's something that I'm making note of as well. So if we consider the entirety of what we were able to see from this little clip here, there were definitely points of either desynchronization or nonverbal tells that could indicate insincerity, insecurity, and defensiveness in regards to what they're saying. And that does, in fact, line up with everything else that we've seen so far. Another area in this video that she says is that she says that she hasn't done these things, the problematic things, in a while, like a long while. It's been years, is what she's saying. While that's technically partially true, she did some things a while ago. She also just recently did some things. So she's trying to build in this manipulation point of separation via time. I did this stuff all a long time ago. I don't do that anymore. I'm much better now. Please ignore the current things that I just did that really don't indicate that I'm better now. Just focus on the things that I did years ago that I'm better than that then. And so that is a slight manipulation point. So let me know in the comments of this video, what are your feelings about Colleen Ballinger being back? Do you feel like she has done time enough away from the internet, away from her career, as she's saying? Or do you feel like there's something else that needs to be done? Let me know in the comments of this video. I, for one, don't necessarily, I don't feel like this is the end of controversy in Colleen Ballinger's career. But yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree. If you did like this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to. You could become a member also if you feel like that. But yeah, if you have any video requests or anything along those lines, just let me know in the comments or on social medias, whatever suits your fancy. But without further ado, that's all that I've got for the day. My name is Logan, and you have been oh so awesome, as you always are, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.